Good day, everybody. Welcome to another day of learning opportunity. I am your teacher, Teacher Jessa, and I will be discussing with you another topic in Science 6, and this is all about seasons in the Philippines. Do you consider the time of year in planning your activities? How about the farmers? When do they plant and dry their crops? People, especially farmers, consider the seasons of the Philippines in planting and in drying their crops or even in doing some activities. What do you mean by season? A season, it is the period of the year that is usually characterized by a particular kind of weather. The Philippines has two kinds of seasons, the wet and dry season. Each season has particular characteristics. Let's talk about the season in the Philippines. The Philippine climate, warm and humid year-round. It is considered to be one of the world's healthiest tropical climates. As I have said, the Philippines has two kinds of season, the wet and dry season. Now let's talk about this. What comes into your mind when we talk about wet season? The wet season is characterized by a pronounced rainy season with thunderstorm. Wet season starts in June and peaks in July to September and then falls slowly towards the end of the year. During wet season, the air is hot and humid, which brings heavy rain and typhoons in the country. During the wettest month, rain is an almost daily occurrence. Precipitation is highest in the area where the southwest monsoon strikes. During rainy season, it is advisable to carry an umbrella, especially in the late afternoon. It is also during rainy season that farmers are also able to plant their crops. How about dry season? Dry season, it is characterized by hot and cloudless days. Between January and May, the climate is generally dry with occasional rain showers. During January to February, the air is cold and dry. The peak of dry season is in April with less rain showers. The dry season is influenced by seasonal wind and northeast monsoon or amihan. Northeast breeze from Siberia and northern China is cool and dry, which brings prolonged period of successive cloudless days. It is advisable to wear light-colored and cotton clothes during warm days to be comfortable. Summer months is the time for some people to go on vacation, swimming, and visits other islands. It is also the time for some people to dry their crops and other goods. This time, I'm going to tell you the factors affecting the season of the Philippines. Number 1. Location of the Philippines. The Philippines is located a little north of the equator. Being near the equator, the Philippines receives vertical rays of sunlight. The sun's heat causes much water to evaporate and falls as rain later on. Part of the year experiences dry season, and part of it is rainy or wet season, since the earth revolves around the sun. Different parts of the country experience short dry season, while other parts do not have marked rainy season. And number 2 factors that affect the seasons of the Philippines is prevailing winds. It is a wind blows mostly from a single direction. The prevailing winds in the Philippines are southwest monsoon, or the local name habagat, and the northeast monsoon, or the amihan. Southwest monsoon or habagat brings rainy season to the west portion of the country. Typhoons tend to enhance hanging habagat, resulting in several days of heavy rains across the places of the country. However, for most of the country, the dry season is during amihan. Now, what are the activities that are suited for a specific season in the Philippines? Let me tell you the activities that are suited for dry season. You can plan with your family to have family gathering and family outings like picnic, long trip, traveling in beautiful sceneries, and traveling in historical places. Another one is doing recreational activities like hiking, mountain climbing, and swimming. Dry season is also the season for house cleaning activities like washing and drying our clothes, gardening, and yard improvement. This is so much fun! The dry season is also good for farmers to harvest and drying their crops, and for the fishermen to dry their caught fishes. During this season, community activities like team building, outdoor game, fiesta celebration, community parade, and contest are done. And also during this season, there are lots of government projects like road construction, fences construction, road repair, and drainage improvement. What about wet season? Is there any activities suited for wet season? Sure, there is. During the wet season, the activities are mostly indoors. You can have indoor activities like reading books, writing songs and poems, watching television. Playing instrument is also fun. You can do blogging and playing video games. For farmers, the wet season is very, very important because this is the time for planting. Therefore, all in all, the Philippines has warm and humid climate all year round. Philippines has two pronounced seasons, the wet and dry season. The season of the Philippines is influenced by its location on the equator and the prevailing winds that pass over it. Now, let's try to check if you learned something today. Are you ready? Yes, you are ready. Select the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. What do you call a period of the year that is usually characterized by a particular kind of weather? A. Weather. B. Season. C. Forecast. D. Prevailing winds. The answer is correct. The answer is letter B, season. Number 2. What are the seasons present in the Philippines? A. Summer and winter. B. Autumn and spring, C. Wet and dry, or D. Rainy and sunny. Timer starts now. The answer is letter C. Wet and dry season. Number 3. What is the all-year-round climate present in the Philippines? A. Warm and humid, B. Hot and dry, C. Rainy and sunny, or D. Cold and dry. The answer is time is up. The correct answer is letter A. Warm and humid. Let's go to number 4. Which of the following is a factor that affects the season of the Philippines? A. Climate, B. Neighbor country, C. Oceans, or letter D. Location of the Philippines. Your time starts now. You're right. The correct answer is letter D. Location of the Philippines. Now let's have number 5, the last number. Which of the following is a factor that affects the season of the Philippines? A. Rains, B. Prevailing winds, C. Position of the sun, or letter D. Typhoons. The answer is you got it right. The answer is letter B. Prevailing winds. Great job, everybody! That's the end of my discussion. I hope that you learned something today. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, goodbye, everybody!